Now, there is no doubt about it, and it's pretty much universally known at this point that Bob Iger is nothing more than a liar who likes to lie to the core customer base, to the shareholders, and will always lie to string them along into the following year. This is exactly why he's trying to focus on his deliberate agenda for the remainder of his overall role as the CEO of the Walt Disney Company until he plans to step down, by the way, by 2026 sometime. That is a thing, by the way. They already have a full-on roster of who they're going to replace as the CEO by the time 2026 arrives. However, 2025, basically Disney has something coming with the overall disaster, that of course being Snow White, the live-action remake starring both Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So there's been a lot of serious drama bouncing back and forth between actresses like, of course, Zegler and Gal, and everything else going in between, such as director Mark Webb, writer Greta Gerwig getting mixed up in the drama as well. But focusing on Gal, she's been going up against the Disney heads, the Disney executives, including CEO Bob Iger, for multiple reasons, and rightfully so in different areas. We're going to be talking about every single thing here about what's been going on with this production in particular, and why it's really setting itself up for a major disaster for March of 2025. Now, we already know, like I said earlier today, that this movie is already got a budget of $350 million plus, and that's not even putting marketing expenses into the equation. And of course, to the point, they also are negotiating again to do further reshoots. Now, moving along from all of this, with the current Snow White trailer Backlash already breaking records, and not good ones, by the way, for the Walt Disney Company, the behind-the-scenes drama between Zegler and Gal continues to worsen over time for Snow White 25. However, recently Gal fired back at the Walt Disney Company for multiple reasons that are now just beginning to unravel, and are putting Bob Iger in an even more serious position. A significant update to this situation now involves how Gal already has gotten involved in multiple loud arguments with the Disney executives over reported false promises that were handed to her months ago regarding the press tour for Snow White 25, starting off with the official teaser trailer that dropped, where initially Gal was promised that that teaser trailer in particular was going to focus on the introduction of her singing to the general public as the evil queen that would see, of course, itself in the trailer. Instead, this was swapped weeks ago with Rachel Zegler singing. This sparked outrage from Gal against the Disney executives and higher-ups, including Bob Iger, who promised, by the way, to Gal that her singing would not only be featured in the trailer, but also in a promised additional exclusive Snow White clip that was supposed to be released across all forms of social media by Disney on August 16th that never happened. The clip that was supposed to debut just days ago online involved a full-on clip of Gal as the evil queen singing a song and eventually transforming into the old hag, aka the witch with the hood over her head, to provide the general public an exclusive promotion for the film at D23 that would further and later be released on social media. Now, this was said to have been part of Gal's contract for Snow White 25, and that the clip was made exclusively for D23 that would actually be slightly altered from the final scene in the movie. Now, the overall reason why Bob Iger backed out of this clip was the current state of fear and panic at the Walt Disney Company over all the negative attention and press the film has been getting. Already, Gal is beginning to fire back at the Disney heads behind the scenes, claiming that they broke her contract, in which they reportedly did. It turns out Gal sat through 9 to 10 hours of getting makeup done for 5 whole days just to film this exclusive clip for D23 that was going to later be released on social media. Other clips of the Snow White film are also now being cancelled that feature Gal Gadot as the evil queen that were supposed to be released during both the Jimmy Kimmel Live show this September and The View via ABC during Halloween season, roughly in the middle of October. Both of those clips also have been axed for promotional purposes for Snow White 25. It turns out the main reason is that this situation escalated is that those scenes are getting cut and described to have been Gal's best acting for Snow White that are now getting cancelled. In fact, many of her scenes that were described as her best takes are already getting scrubbed from the final cut as we speak, as Disney begins to re-edit the entire film while also negotiating reshoots, something Gal already had major arguments about and is already giving Disney a serious warning of refusing to do some exclusive interviews like the one with Variety to promote Snow White and backing out of those as well. Now guys, before I move on, let me just say one thing about Gal Gadot. Now, she obviously has a lot of problems with Disney, and she has a lot of valid reasons to be very angry with the Disney executives. Now look, I've pointed this out many times. I think that Gal is a very hit-or-miss actress. She has some moments, she has a lot of bad moments as an actress, alright? She doesn't have the best acting capability out there, but there is no doubt about it that she defeats Rachel Zegler as an actress by a million miles, alright? There's a very, very bold, a very much obvious contrast there between the two actresses. Now, what's interesting about this is the fact that Disney's going the extra mile to shortchange Gal Gadot in some circumstance, right? Now, there are other areas where they are caving to her demands based on her relationship, or her friendship, I should say, with director Mark Webb. She has a very close friendship with him. She really grew with him on the set, as well as Greta Gerwig, the writer. Now, moving on from that, Gal is also already giving Disney another serious warning that she won't participate in her interview with the hosts of The View to promote Snow White unless they figure out a plan to reinstate her best acted scenes to be part of the final cut of the film. Now, Disney executives are already attempting to force Gal to get involved in more reshoots, hence more work, and more, excruciating work to go through all that makeup and all that, to redo many parts of her role as the old hag and her appearance as the witch, aka, of course, something Gal is holding major creative differences over and battling Disney as we speak. So look, we already know that the overall situation is beginning to really erupt now between not just Gal and Rachel, but it's also a Bob Iger problem, right? We know that Bob Iger has no idea what he's doing at the Disney company other than chasing a deliberate agenda. He is trying to please the top three shareholders, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. I'm sorry, it needs to be said all the time, and in recent days I really haven't been bringing it up that much, but they do have to be named, and these are the actual organizations that are funding all of this DEI nonsense, everything related to ESG, and this is exactly why in recent years, pretty much everything Disney has been going downhill. Now, sure, you've had exceptions. You've had Inside Out 2. You've had Deadpool and Wolverine. We all get that. But there's a lot of failures on the horizon for both 25, 26, and 2027. In fact, Sword in the Stone is still on the table to be a complete 180 of what the original story was in animated form, and there's going to be a lot of race swapping, gender swapping. That's what they're overall chasing for in that movie. We'll talk more about that next month. But overall, guys, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about all of this drama related to Snow White, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.